Roses are red. Looks like the main timeline in the Marvel Universe is finally expanding. But Kevin Feige cancel another show with the black lead.
That will be your last motherfucking day standing.
And that's all I have to say about that.
And that's my 2 cents. Now let's get into the brand new day of Spider-Man.
Lassiter Factor.
What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? This is your boy Bangful B of the Lassiter Factor, and I am here with a review for Spider-Man Brand New Day, which was released in theaters over the weekend. I went to the theater to go see it, so let's review. Spider-Man Brand New Day is the fourth Spider-Man film that takes place within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's Tom Holland's fourth outing as this character, and it takes place some years after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, in which he is living alone because Doctor Strange did the spell that made everybody forget about Peter Parker. So now he is isolated all by himself. He is Spider-Maning all by himself. His friends and love of his life don't know who he is or don't remember who he is. Because of his emotional state, his powers go through some changes that will either make or break him. While all this is happening, he has to deal with a threat that is telepathically controlling people. Now, ever since the beginning of the year, I have gone back and rewatched every single live-action Spider-Man. I have not gone back to watch the Spider-Verse movies. I'm saving those for next year when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out. But I rewatched all the live-action Spider-Man movies to prep for this movie right here. Spider-Man, he's one of my favorite characters of all time. I love the movies, especially the Raimi trilogy. Generally speaking, I think Tobey, he'll always be my GOAT, but Tobey, I thought he played the best Peter Parker, Andrew played the best Spider-Man, and Tom Holland, I think, does a good job at both. And that is continued here within Brand New Day, because this is probably the most mature movie of the Tom Holland era of Spider-Man movies. Because, like I said, the last movie left him off where he is isolated, alone, so now we get to see him really, truly embrace being a street-level hero. He doesn't have no guardrails or safety nets. He is just Spider-Man. He is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's a man of the people, and so we get to see him actually be integrated with New York City and helping people, but at the same time, he still has to deal with the events of the last movie. Needless to say, I really love this movie. Now, I'm gonna take some time to marinate on whether or not I like this movie more than No Way Home. Right now, I kind of like No Way Home more, but we'll see when I post my ranking of every Spider-Man movie in a couple of days. But this movie, to me, it is on par with No Way Home. If not, it's definitely up there. I am with the streets when they say that this is probably the best of the Tom Holland era. And to me, it's the best because it's the most mature of the Tom Holland era, because he is going through a lot emotionally and mentally, and that affects his powers, which we've seen in Spider-Man 2. In fact, this movie is probably close to that movie, but the results are just a little bit different. What I'm saying here is, unlike the previous three movies, even No Way Home, as much as I love this movie feels more so like a Spider-Man movie than an MCU movie, and that's how this movie rises above for me. And while I like No Way Home a little bit better, I do think this movie in particular is the best acting we've seen from Tom Holland as Peter Parker Spider-Man. Dare I say, this is probably the closest we'll ever get to seeing a movie where we see Spider-Man stop pulling his punches. And when you see the movie, you will understand why I say that. And like I said, we see him interact with his friends who don't remember him, particularly MJ, who he's really struggling with. And I appreciated that the previous three movies basically dealt with them as teenagers, but here they're basically adults, if not they're still in college. But either way, they're a lot more mature than they were in the previous three movies. So now it's like we're watching them. It's like the audience is growing with them, and I really appreciate that. Ned included, and I'll talk about more about him in my spoiler review, but I really like what they did with him, especially at the end, because, even if things don't work out with the love of your life, your buddies will still be there for you. Again, I'll explain in my spoiler review. Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, is in this film, and he's played once again by Jon Bernthal. And I'll admit, I was a little worried how they would portray this character in a PG-13 movie, but in this movie, they got him just right. And I loved watching him interact with Spider-Man. It really was just like watching a dysfunctional couple in a buddy cop movie. I was a little worried that the Hulk would take a little bit of time away from Spider-Man, being as he's making an appearance in this movie, but he actually didn't, and I was glad to see Savage Hulk return again. To me, this probably has some of the best Spider-Man action I've seen in a Spider-Man movie in a long time, and that credit goes to Dustin Daniel Cretton, who you remember directed Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And I say, of those two movies, this movie was his speed. Going forward, can we just have him direct Spider-Man movies from now on? Because he clearly gets Spider-Man, but also gets Spider-Man action. Now, I don't really have any negatives about this movie, but I do have things that I am a little split on, starting with Sadie Sink, who is a great actress, and she did excellent in this movie in terms of the acting, but in terms of the character she played, which I will not spoil in this review, I'ma just say, as a fan of what she's a part of, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about how she was utilized, but in context of this movie, I thought she was effective. Some other villains make an appearance in this movie, particularly Scorpio, who was teased in the end credit scene of Spider-Man Homecoming, and I'm glad we got to see him here. And while I kind of suspected that we wouldn't get but so much time with him, but there are other Spider-Man characters that make an appearance in this movie that I won't spoil for you, but I just kind of wish we got just a little bit more time than what we got with them in this movie. And to me, that's just more so a personal thing for me, because to me, Batman and Spider-Man, they have the two best rogues galleries, and so I just feel like you're just kind of cutting some of Spider-Man's best villains short, because they make for some interesting stories. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. Tom Holland, at least from my perspective, he has yet to make a bad Spider-Man movie, so congratulations to him. He made it to 4 movies, let alone 4 good movies, and it's the most mature out of the 4 movies he has made as Spider-Man, or the standalone Spider-Man movies, I should say. I'm going to give Spider-Man Brand New Day almost a solid hard eyes emoji. It's only because of how Sadie Sink was utilized in the movie and the underutilization of other villains within this movie that it doesn't get a full hard eyes emoji, but that's just where I stand. But otherwise, like I said, I put this on par, if not in some cases better than No Way Home. But personally, I prefer No Way Home. But overall, both this movie and No Way Home, to me, that is the holy grail of the Tom Holland era Spider-Man movies. Thank you so much for watching. Have you seen Spider-Man Brand New Day? If so, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This your boy Bangful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.